Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Shop and Read. Today I'll be starting off a brand new reading vlog. Before I get started, if you're new to this channel, please don't hesitate to subscribe down below, as well as the notification bell. And if you are new, hi, hello, I'm Stephanie. I talk about bookish things, and today we're talking about the magical readathon reading vlog. So like I did last year, I will be doing this reading vlog throughout the month of April, where I'll just be tackling and highlighting the books that I will be reading for this readathon specifically. So I will be reading other books outside of the readathon, which I will not be including in this video. The purpose of this video is specifically for the magical readathon, and I'm going to stick with that. So last year there were a bunch of quests that were given throughout the month, and I feel like that made the video like extra long because I was just adding quest after quest. But this year I don't think that is the case. There is like one quest, but I don't think that has been announced yet, or like it has been announced, but it hasn't been announced like what that quest entails specifically, at least as far as I'm aware. But I'm excited for this year. I am going to continue on with Beastmaster. And before I get started with my TBR, which I'll quickly go over once again because I did talk about this in my April TBR, which I will link above and down below in case you want to check it out. But I will also include down below all the information for the magical readathon. Obviously by the time this video goes out, it will be after the readathon, so can't be joining us for this time, but there will be another round in August, I believe, as well as every month there is like these quests that you can do throughout the year, so you can definitely join us for other things. I'm excited for this readathon. Obviously I love how it is every year and I'm always a big part of it, so I'm excited to just talk about my TBR very quickly, and then we'll move on to the actual readathon. I plan to talk about the books after I read them, just because I don't really know what the quest entails and how many books there will be, so I don't want to have this video to be like extremely long. And that's what I did last year. I think I had them like maybe one or two updates through while I was reading, but majority of it was after I read each book. So anyways, the first book on my TBR is Kagawa, which is going to satisfy the lore study, and that is to read a book with a map. So there's a beautiful stunning map right here, so it definitely fulfills that prompt. The next prompt I have is restoration, and that is to close my eyes, shuffle the books, and pick a book. So for this prompt, I have my regular TBR over here. There's 5 books, so I am going to just do a number generator 1 through 5 and pick out a book that I'll be reading for this. So for the ease of it, I'll number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top to bottom, and I have my lovely phone over here where I will just do a quick number generator and see what I get. I got number 1, which is awesome, which means I'll be reading Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson as my restoration pick. Next book I'll be tackling is Iron Raven by Julie Kagawa. This is for my alchemy study, which is to read a book with a metal in the title. Obviously iron is a type of metal, so it definitely fulfills this prompt. Next book I have on here is Animal Studies, and that is to flip a coin. Head is nonfiction, tail is for fiction. Unfortunately I flipped heads, so I'll be reading a nonfiction. The book I'll be reading this time is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I have no idea what this book is about. I thought this was actually a fictional book, and it's giving me Babysitter's Club vibe just based on the cover. But this is a memoir and it's nonfiction, and this was extremely popular a couple months ago, and I'm kind of curious to find out why it was so popular. Like, who even is Jeanette McCurdy? I feel like I should know that person, but like for the life of me, I have no image coming in my head for that name. The last and final book I'll be tackling as of yet is The Dragon's Promise, which is going to be for my elemental studies, and that is to read a book with flowers on the cover. There is sakura right here throughout the book, so definitely fulfills that prompt. So these are basically the 5 books plus the nonfiction, which I will be tackling through audiobook, that I will be reading for this readathon, and we'll see how this goes. I do know that I have guild abilities as well. I want to say a DNF counts as a book. I believe that is my ability. I haven't actually looked at it in a while, and I need to kind of go back and calculate the points because I have been doing the monthly kind of quest, and I believe there's points for that too, so I might actually be in a higher tier now. I don't know, so I need to go look through that and see what's up with that. Yes, hello, I am back with an update. It's been a while, I think. Wow, I look like complete shit. I just came back from a work trip from Kentucky, and let me just say the vibe was not there. I am not fit for the Midwest, you know, southern vibe at all, and also like the food was just very mediocre. anyways, like I was there for a work trip, so whatever. But I did not read for this readathon at all, but I did manage to pick up Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone since I've been back, and I'm about 13-14% of the way through. This is not it, guys. I am not enjoying this book at all. I want to try this a little bit more, but at the same time, it's just not me. Like, the writing style is just very off, and I don't know if it's just because the plot is not engaging or the characters are not interesting, but I am not able to focus with this book, and I don't know, I'm just struggling really fucking hard right now. I did pick this up with audiobook, so I don't know if that played a role, because sometimes it does, but I don't know, this book is just very odd to me, and I'm just not a fan. So that's really all my update for now, because I haven't really started anything so far. I'm going to try to read some more of the other books later, but I am finishing up another series right now that I'm like pretty interested in. But yeah, just letting you guys know that this book is not it, and at this point I'm like 99% I am going to DNF it, like 99.9%. like I'm going to DNF it, guys. Like, I'm about to go listen to an audiobook right now because I want to make some soup, and while I'm cooking I like to listen to something, and the idea of listening to this is just not it for me. So I will be DNFing it. I've made up my mind, and I'll be reading the nonfiction book that I picked up. Definitely updates for you guys. It is now the next day. I managed to starting and finishing I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This is a memoir. It was for my animal studies prompt, and honestly I have no idea who Jeanette McCurdy is, so I was just very like, that's why I didn't know this was a memoir, because obviously I didn't know who she was as a person, because I don't really think I watched a lot of Nickelodeon stuff when I was younger. So anyways, that was a really good fucking book. I was so invested with the story. I mean, I finished it in one day. Like, it was literally like super fast to finish, very easy to listen to. It was also narrated by herself, which is awesome. I love when the nonfiction is narrated by the authors themselves, because I feel like they just bring so much more emotion to the story than, you know, hiring a third-party voice actor or actress. And I don't know, I really enjoyed it. Like, I was so like shook it by her mom and kind of the abuse that she faced, that didn't really seem like abuse because it was made out of love in a way, but it was definitely like psychological and physical and mental abuse that she just did not know because she was so young. She was kind of like groomed by her mother to act a certain way and be a certain way, and it was just, I was very invested. Like, I can see why so many people love that book and why it was like, you know, super popular a couple months ago. So I'm glad I read it or listened to it. But yeah, definitely 5 stars. I think like it was just a really good fucking book. And then moving on from there, I am now going to pick up The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim, and I have the Fairy Lou edition, which I already took off the dust jacket, but look how beautiful the naked hardback is. So very excited for this one. This is also signed, by the way, right here, and this is going to be for my, I think it's Elemental Studies or something like that, the one with like with flowers on the cover. This one definitely fits. And then, so right now I finished, because of my guild ability, my DNF for Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone does still count. So I already finished that prompt or that study. I also finished the animal studies that I did for I'm Glad My Mom Died, and now I'm on my 3rd prompt over here. And then the 2 other books I have left is the Kagawa one as well as Iron Raven. I don't know, I wanted to pick up Iron Raven, but I'm just a little skeptical because it is a spin-off series, and I'm like, should I really pick up the original series? Like, I feel like I really should need to, but at the same time the idea of it is just like daunting to me, because those books were written back in like the early 2000s, I want to say like 2000, 2010, something like that. So I just don't know how they will be now that, you know, it's been like over a decade later. And I did read reviews about them recently, and they were like, it's very childish, they were written back in that time period, and I was just like, oh god, I don't know if I want to waste time reading that. So I might just dive straight into Iron Raven and just hope for the best, and if it's not good, I just, you know, DNF it. But I really hope it's good, guys. Like, this was a series that was like very dissipated from many years ago, and I was very excited for it because I do remember enjoying the Iron Fae like books back in the day, but I was also like in middle grade, I think, at that point. So I just can't imagine. I don't know, we'll see. Like, we'll see. I really don't know. Yeah, that's my update for now. I'm really happy I've managed to finish a book, and at least I'm on my 3rd book now. But I look like a fucking mess, but I am a firm believer of air dry, so I am air drying my hair after I shower. But I do have some updates for you guys, some biggish updates actually. So the first one is not the biggest one. I'm still reading Dragon's Promise. I am now on page 126. This book is, I'm flying through this book. It is so easy for me to just sit down and read this, and like, you know, 30-50 pages just like goes by. It's really fucking fast. So I'm really happy about this book so far. I love the storyline. It basically follows Shiori again, and now she's with like Suryu, who is a dragon, and they're off to do this like second adventure. And what I like about this book the most is I feel like the first book, it didn't end, but like it ended like a chapter, you know what I mean? Like it was like a very good like conclusion, and then now the second book is like the second adventure, but it still follows the same plot line, but it's like part 2, you know? And I really like that part. I feel like sometimes books are just like, it ends on a cliffhanger, and like this one does, but I don't know, it's just the way how the books are written. It's very distinct. Like the first book is a part 1, the second book is a part 2, and the third book, which I'm assuming is the ending, will be like the final like part. And I just like how this book is written right now, and like just the writing is just exquisite. It's simple. But the big update I have for you guys is actually the quest. So last night I actually went in to look at all the quests that they had, and I kind of like fucked myself over, so we'll see how this goes. I don't have any of the books picked out, but I want to tell you guys like the path I'm taking and what books I have picked out so far. So the whole quest basically is to like, I want to say something to do with the alchemy professor. I want to say it's like you save him or something like that. I don't really remember. I didn't really read like the plot itself. I just really focused on the prompts, and that's kind of like my main goal. But it says over here, the first one is you have this alchemy class, and then something happens and your name appears written at the top of this handwriting. There's like a letter or something like that, and it says choices. You either accept this quest or you reject it. And if you accept it, the prompt is to read a word with night in the title or read it during nighttime. Once you finish this prompt, you go to the next folder and it awards you 10 guild points. So this one I actually did finish already, because I just finished listening to The Night Olivia Fell, which basically is like a thriller novel about this woman where she finds out that her daughter apparently jumped off of something. I want to say it's like a bridge or a building, and she dies, but she's actually just brain dead, because it turns out that she's actually pregnant. And while this book progresses, this entire time the daughter is in a coma, like a vegetative state, but the state laws cannot allow them to like, you know, take her off of life support because she's pregnant, and therefore they need to make sure at least the baby is kept safe. So the mom is like, what the fuck is happening? One, who pushed her? I can't believe she just fell. There must be something behind this. And two, who got her pregnant? Like, she didn't even know that she was pregnant. And so the book kind of just follows like flashbacks throughout the entire time, where, you know, you follow Olivia's perspective and kind of like the events that led up to her untimely death, as well as the mother's perspective in like the present day, like what is happening and trying to solve this case, etc, etc. I don't know if it was like an amazing read for me. I think I gave it like 3 stars, but I did finish it recently on audiobook, so this definitely fulfills this prompt. And then after that, you get to this place, you hear these like cauldrons, and you get a note from the professor. Oh, so the professor is not gone, by the way. I'm actually just reading this for the first time. I just really just looked at the prompts and like that was it. But apparently the professor is tasking you with some sort of investigation, and it says, you know, go finish talking to the professor, and the prompt is to read majority of the book with the alchemy theater ambience room in the background, and this will give you 10 guild points as well. I have not done this one yet, but I am planning to pick up Fairy Tale Volume 10. I wanted a short book that I can guarantee that I can finish it for majority of it in front of the ambience room, because I'm not really a ambience reader. I don't usually have music in the background when I read, so this is not like a normal thing for me. So I want to make sure I have to pick a short book for this. So I will be finishing this book at some point soon. But moving on to the next prompt, then you're supposed to go to this inn. It's called the Wild Moon Inn, and there are these 3 characters that look very suspicious. One is a cloaked figure, another one's a loud patron, and the third is a studious looking elf. And your action is to choose who you want to approach to ask questions, and then you go to the next folder accompanying who you want to go to. So I chose the cloaked figure because I was like, he looks sus or she looks sus, I need to find out. So this cloaked figure is so focused on their project they don't even notice you at first. And right now you have 2 choices. So the cloaked figure is actually like playing with some sort of like imp next to it, and you can either cast a frenzy spell on the imp so the cloaked figure is distracted and you can go like ruffle through his parchments, his papers, all that stuff, or you can shake the imp's hand and become his friend. So I decided to go with this one, and the prompt for this one is to read a book from your lowest shelf. I do have a book picked out for this one. It is The Babysitter's Coven. I did get it from my lowest shelf in my bedroom bookshelf, and that one is basically about these babysitters who find out they have these magical powers, and now they're, you know, figuring things out and sorting out life. They're also in high school too, so we'll see how this goes. I've heard, like, I want to say Nikki really liked it like a couple years ago, and I remember that's what sparked to put that book on my shelf. But since then I really haven't heard too much about it, and I believe there is a sequel to the book, so we'll see. So that is a book that I plan to read for this prompt. But unfortunately, I got to the next page, and it says that one thing is clear: the imp is not your person. You need to head back and try again. So I wasn't sure if this meant like I go to the original 3 people or I try with the cloaked figure. So I decided to go with the cloaked figure again. So I went back to the frenzy version where I, you know, distract the imp and get a look, you know, through the cloaked person's papers and bags and everything. And the prompt for this one is to read a book next to your nearest light fixture. I do not have a book picked out for this one yet, but you know, we'll see how this goes. And again, like, all the books you read for each prompt gives you 10 guild points, so just FYI there. So I haven't decided yet. I'll find something, and yeah, we'll like get back to that. But then obviously not your person, so now I had to go find someone else. So I decided to go with the elf because I was like, I don't know, the elf seems a little sus too. So this one over here had 2 choices. You either pretend you are the person they're trying to meet, so they're trying to meet someone, and you know, just see how it goes, or you can just not reveal anything about yourself and ask to see like what she's doing and the goods instead. And so I decided to go with it, which means I pretend to be the person that the elf is waiting for. And the prompt for that is to read the most recently acquired book. I have a whole fucking shelf for that. I haven't picked a book out yet, so we'll see. Yeah, that's my next prompt over here. And then I go through the whole, you know, shenanigan with pretending to be the person, and turns out it is not the elf. So now I need to go find someone else. So I kind of like fucked myself over. I literally went through every single person. So I went to the loud patron. Now he is the only person left, and the only choices are either you keep ordering him drinks and prompting him to tell you more, or you use a suggestion charm for him to speak up, because the first option might take too long. I decided to go with the first option, which is to buy him more drinks and hopefully he'll just open up naturally. And the prompt for that is to read a contemporary book. So I went to the next page, and it says, congratulations, I found the letter that the professor is looking for, and now I need to go back to the classroom. And that's kind of where it ends for now. The next part of this quest doesn't open until the 9th, which is in 3 days. So basically I have like 3 days to kind of like get through all of this, but it's not like mandatory. Like it's not a real timeline, so I can do it whenever I want to. But that is kind of the main update for you guys, because I was like, I don't know, I was getting my nails done last night. Look how cute they are. They're these like little ombre pink and these like yellow, I don't know, it's really cute. So I was doing that, getting my nails done, and I was going through this prompt, and I was like, yep, I want to do this, I want to do that. So that is the quest I'll be doing. I definitely want to update my journal. To be honest, I'm only updating my bullet journal now with like readathon stuff. Like I'm not really using it for anything else because I just don't have the time to make so many like spreads and everything. And yeah, the readathons is just like the easy way for me to just have everything written out very cutely and very concisely and clear. But yeah, hello guys, I am here to do a very quick update because I actually have a meeting in about 5 minutes or so, but I feel like I haven't updated you guys in a couple days, so I wanted to make sure I do a quick update for you guys first. So first things first, I did manage to finish reading The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim. This book I wanted to give this 5 stars, but I feel like in retrospect this is more like a 4.5 star book. Not because I didn't like it, I really enjoyed it. I just felt like the pacing sometimes felt a little bit off. And the other issue is something that I'm like, I didn't see that in the first book, but I did feel like in this book, for some reason, the writing just seems a lot more juvenile, and I don't know why that is. I feel like I only read the first book like last year, so it wasn't like a ton of time has gone by between the first book and the second book that, you know, like my rating is just different or whatever. But for some reason, I do feel like the first book just seems a little bit more mature, and then this one just seems a lot more juvenile. So I don't know, but I do know that obviously the books are targeting, you know, marketed to young adults, and obviously I'm no longer a young adult, but still, you know, like the fact that I thought the first book was okay and then the second book was not, I don't know. a little bit, it might just be a personal thing, but the other issue I have with this book is definitely a personal thing, 100%. It is the edition of this book. I don't know why, but for some reason this book is one that like does not, like, it's not floppy in the middle, you know? So half the time when I'm reading it, I actually have to like, it's like harder to read. I don't know why that is the case, because other hardcovers, for example, like Kagawa, I flip it to the middle and it stays, you know? And like, it's really easy to read this when I'm like eating or whatever it is, but that is not the case for Dragon's Promise. I don't know why, but that's like a purely aesthetic personal issue I have with this book, but like it really aggravated me while reading, because I was like, this is so annoying, like why can't I just stay like this? But other than that though, I really enjoyed the book. I thought the characters were great. I really like the plot, generally speaking, and I want to say this is the conclusion to the series, but there is going to be a spin-off series or a spin-off book following Charnari, who is the queen. I don't know if it's going to be a series or if it's going to be like a, you know, a standalone. Another character that I think will be a really good addition to a spin-off is Hasho, who is Shiori's brother, because there's something that happens to him at the end that I'm like super curious to find out like what he does after and like what happens to him after. So he's another character that I feel like I would be very intrigued by. I don't know if she's gonna write another spin-off book besides Charnari, but I don't know, I'm really curious about him as well. So now I'm done with that particular prompt. I'm moving to my next prompt over here, which is to read Caraval, and I am on page 152. So definitely make some progress to it. I am gonna bring this book with me to my trip, since I am gonna be leaving tomorrow morning, like super fucking early tomorrow morning, and I will be bringing this book as well as probably the sequel, and hopefully I get through it. But so far I'm really enjoying this book. This book essentially follows two sisters. One is Scarlet, the other one is Tella or Donatella, and they live under the thumb of their extremely strict father, who apparently is like not just strict but very like cruel and vicious. So they've been trying to escape their entire lives, but then something happened during one of their escape earlier on, and Scarlet realizes that her father would do everything to force her daughters to stay on this little island, and their father is actually the governor of said island too, so it's even like harder for them to have any sort of freedom. And the only way that she thinks she can have freedom is if she marries off to someone in the faraway land and brings her sister with her, and then they can finally escape the clutches of the father. But for her younger sister, she's like, I don't think that's really an escape, because I'm just trading from one prison to the other, because they have no idea who this potential suitor is. And throughout her entire life, she's been writing letters to the master of the Caraval to come to this small island so they can experience for themselves, because I think it's magical, etc. Never got answered until now. And now, because of circumstances, they go off onto this island and they play this game. And it turns out this year, Donatella, her sister, is the one that is hidden away, and everyone who's playing the game have to go and find her. So that's the premise of this book. I'm really enjoying it so far. One thing that's like kind of hilarious to me is Julian and Scarlett's interactions. I don't know why, but there's just something about the two of them that is really fucking hilarious, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. I do think that Julian is going to be the love interest, even though I feel like in the beginning of the book that didn't feel like that's the case, but now as I'm reading, I'm like, he's definitely going to be a love interest. But it's also a little weird because he's first introduced as the guy her sister was making out with, so it's like, now you're like, I don't know. So I realized that I forgot to actually update you guys on my quest stuff. I think last time I updated you guys, I mentioned that I did the Night Olivia Fell quest, and then I was going to read Fairy Tale, which I did read, but I didn't do it for this quest though. So I'm going to have to do volumes 11 for the quest, which is fine. I'll probably do it today. And then the other one I did was the Babysitter's Coven, which I finished. I don't know if I finished it last time I updated you guys, but I did finish the book. I gave it like 3 stars. It was okay. It's basically about these like babysitters who realize that they have magical powers and they're like witchcraft involved, so that's why it's called Babysitter's Coven. And then they find out there's like some sort of kidnapping going on, and they try to like figure out and solve a mystery, witchcraft, and there's also like demons involved and things like that. I mean, it was an enjoyable read. I don't think it was like an amazing read, but yeah, I mean, it's 3 stars, just okay. And then after that, I don't think I have updated you guys anything in terms of what I plan to read next. I do have information on the next quest that just got released this past weekend. So after the last one, which was you got the letter, and now you have to decide between giving this letter to the elder or giving this letter back to Professor Auburn. And I am going to go with giving the letter to the elders. So the prompt for this one is to read an oldest book on your TBR. I don't know which book I'm going to read yet right now. I feel like right now I really need to finish reading Fairy Tale Volume 11 for the second quest first, because I feel like I kind of need to go in order, and I don't think you actually have to, but I think you should. Maybe, I don't know. So I'm already like out of order right now, so I really want to do Fairy Tale 11 first, and then I have to figure out a book nearest of light fixture, which I have a couple choices here, and then I have most recently acquired book, a contemporary book, and then now oldest book on TBR. So I have a couple books I need to pick out. I don't really know how much progress I'll make since I am actually leaving tomorrow for a week. All right, I'm doing a quick update and I'm doing it on my phone, so I don't even know how this quality looks like later, but I did manage to finish reading Kagawa during my flight over to Boston, and I really enjoyed it. It was such a fast read. I feel like I had a layover, and the last flight, I was about like 2 hours or so. I demolished it during that time. I had about halfway through, and I really enjoyed it. I want to give it like 4 stars or something like that. I'm very curious to see how the series will continue, and from the synopsis of the second book, it seems like it follows more on Tella's side, who is the sister, and then the third book also seems to follow more on Tella's perspective too. So I'm kind of curious to see like the shift in that and why that is the case. In the meantime though, I did not start Fairy Tale 11 yet with the ambiance ASMR room yet, so I need to get on with that. I do have a book picked out for one of the other prompts, which is to read a book that is closest to my light fixture. I picked up a book that was like set in the heart of like San Francisco. I want to say that's what it's called. I have an audiobook for that, so I will start that soon because I'm about to finish my current audiobook, and then yeah, those are my next reads for now. Before I forget though, I did also continue on the quest, and my last prompt was to give the envelope to the elders, and I think I'm done with the quest now, because now it's like, you know, you've been escorted out and you kind of just don't know what happens, but then over the course of a couple months you hear what happens, and Professor Arwen just looks like you very suspiciously now. It doesn't really like you that much, but he doesn't actually hate you either. But then you'll find out that he's innocent in all of this after some more investigation. So that's it for now. I think I should have picked the other prompt because there is a lot more prompts for the next quests, but unfortunately my road is now completed, which means now that I have all the prompts for the things I need to continue on, I know which books to read, or I know which prompts I have to do to find which books to read. I don't have like new ones popping up, so in a way it's good, in a way it's not good, because I no longer have any more options to do more like quest points, like guild points, so it is what it is. All right, as you can clearly tell, I am back in LA. I don't remember when I last updated you guys. I just remember that it was still in Boston and I was still reading Legendary, which I still am. I am now about a lot more further in, on page 342. So I definitely made a lot of progress. I'm almost done. I'm planning to finish this book today, at least that's the plan. And then we'll see how this goes. But I'm really enjoying the book so far. It's very fast paced, it's very engaging. Like, I'm loving the characters. I also feel like there's a lot of like a weird love triangle that's kind of happening, but at the same time like it's not, because one, the person is just clearly bad, but I'm really curious to see what happens next. And then I also don't remember if I mentioned that I finished reading Keep My Heart in San Francisco. This is one that was for my quest prompt. I finished it. It was cute. I don't remember if I talked about it, so I'm not going to spend too much time going through it because there's really nothing to say. It's about this girl in the bowling alley trying to save her father in the bowling alley from going bankruptcy and from moving away from San Francisco, and she goes on this whole like hustler scheme to get some money to save the business. It was cute, and that's really all to it. I gave it 3 stars. And then let's see what else. I have 2 more prompts I need to do, which is the most recently acquired book as well as a contemporary book. And then I also have Iron Raven still that I need to read. But yeah, that's it in terms of this update. I'm really hoping I get to finishing this. I don't really know what to read for these 2 yet. I'm waiting for one of them as an audiobook, so hopefully I get that soon. And then in terms of contemporary, I mean, I am listening to some other books right now, so I think I might pick up one of those as a contemporary. Hey guys, so just coming in to a quick update. It's been a couple days since I last checked in, but I did manage to finish reading Legendary, which is the second book to the Kagawa series, which is also going to be for the prompt for oldest book on my TBR. It is not in fact the oldest book, but it is one of the oldest books. I have many, and Job was trying to say hello because I don't know. Hello. Hi. I really enjoyed that book. I just started picking up the third book, which is not going to be for any prompts. Unfortunately, it just didn't fit anything. So now I have to figure out what I should read next for the magical readathon. I have, I think, 2 more prompts left. One is read a contemporary book, and the other one is to read a book that I most recently acquired, as well as Iron Raven. So those are my 3 priorities for this week, and it's the last week of April. So let's hoping I finish everything that I can. I feel like the whole trip kind of threw me off because I didn't really get to read a lot when I was traveling, unfortunately, which I mean is to be expected. Hey guys, just come in for a quick update on my reading as well as an unboxing. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because I am trying to get back to work and I have a lot of things to do, but I haven't updated you guys in a while, so I want to at least let you guys know what I've been up to. So I did manage to have 2 updates for you guys in terms of my reading. The first one was my contemporary book for my quest, and I managed to finish When You Wish Upon a Lantern by Gloria Chow. This book I gave 3.5 stars. It was cute, nothing super special. It's basically about 2 teenagers where their family runs very different businesses. One of them runs a bakery and the other one runs like a lantern slash like all sorts of knickknacks type of store. And for some reason the parents do not like each other. There's some sort of like situation with the garbage in the alley, and one parent thinks the other one is very disrespectful and very doesn't have any concern for the neighbors, etc. And the other one's like, dude, why the fuck are you looking at the trash? Like, you're so nosy. I don't really understand the whole feud, to be honest, but point is they don't really like each other, but the kids are in love with each other. And in the beginning there's a sort of like misunderstanding about, you know, what happened a couple months ago, and then they stopped talking, but they've been childhood friends for a very long time. And then basically the whole premise of the story is that the girls' family, which they do this like paper lantern, they have this like wish upon a lantern type of promo going on where people buy these paper lanterns, they send them off, and then her and her grandmother, who just recently passed away, used to actually make these wishes come true if they can. And now businesses are not doing great, and now she's like, you know what, I'm gonna drag in my best friend, my ex-best friend. Maybe he's the one who only cares about the situation, and they go on this whole like making some more wishes come true sort of situation. It was cute, like I said already. It was nothing like mind-blowingly amazing. I did like the Taiwanese elements in it, mainly because I'm Taiwanese, so there are definitely some relatable content there. But yeah, like that was kind of it with this book, but I did manage to finish for the contemporary book prompt. And then moving on to my last and final quest, which is to read a book that was most recently acquired. I decided to go with my most recently acquired audiobook, and that is Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. This book is a thriller. It's really short. I just started it. I'm about an hour into it right now, and I'm not entirely sure what is happening. It follows a woman who just woke up from some sort of like accident, terrible accident that happened the night before. She can't move, she can't say anything, all she can do is just listen. And one thing she does know is that her husband is lying, and somehow she suspects that her husband is the cause for why she is in this accident and in this situation. And then I think there's like flashbacks going on right now between what happened previously and kind of like the events that lead up to it. It's interesting so far, but I'm not like super invested in the story as of yet, so we'll see how this goes. So that's my update right now. I have not picked up Iron Raven, which is the last and final book I need to read for this readathon, and then I'm all done. So I plan to do a readathon with my friend this weekend, so I'm really hoping to finish up this book as well as Iron Raven then, and then I'll be like super happy about that. So that's my goal, because it's already Thursday and the month is almost over. I only have a couple days left and I just have that book left to finish. Anyways, moving on to the unboxing portion. I got my Unplugged book box and we are unboxing March. I actually already unboxed everything because I was just so curious. I got home really late last night and I was like, I need to know what it is. So they have, obviously there are spoilers on their site now, and let's just go through everything. I didn't get the spoiler part, so I don't even know what some of these items are, and I didn't really like open them fully. I just wanted to see what the book was. But the first item we get is this item, which looks like some sort of cloth thing. Okay, they look like little mats or something. Let me see what it says. Linen napkins. It doesn't say what it's inspired by though. It just says linen items. And it's part of their green initiative, I guess, because they're trying to be more eco-friendly, which is amazing. As always, I am a rep for them, so I will include my code here. You get 5% off the boxes. All right, moving to the next item I see is this one. This one, it says District 12, so it's definitely Hunger Games related. And I didn't know what this was last night when I opened it. Like, I could not tell what this was. It says over here is that it's supposed to be a reusable straw, but like, where? Wait, oh wait, I think this moves up like this. That's so weird. I've never seen a straw like this before. I mean, it's kind of cool, but also like, I think that's the extent of it. And then it fits into this little compartment, and then you just close it like this, so it fits perfectly. And it has a keychain portion too, so you can actually carry it with you on the go. So I like the concept of it. I just don't know if I'll personally ever really use it. All right, next item I see here is in this box, and it is a candle. Looks like this. Oh my god, this smells so good. I don't even know, it smells like oranges, like something citrusy. It says it is a Violet Delights candle, and it's supposed to be sandalwood, vanilla, and yang yang, which I don't know what that is, but definitely has like a citrus hint to it, so maybe that yang yang part. It smells amazing. I love this. I have this container here, and this is a bowl. It's so cute. It's a mushroom bowl, and it's supposed to be inspired by Finch by Jeff Vandermeer, which I've never heard of before. But I like how this, I don't know, it looks like the Toad cap, like, you know, from Mario Kart. The only issue with this thing is I don't really like this part right here, because it's like jutted out, and I'm like, it's not smooth, and I don't know, it's like kind of irking to me because I like it to be smooth. But yeah, it's very cute though. All right, next item I have is this. It is a Undead Truth bubble bath. When it came, it was all like powdered. I don't know if it's supposed to be that way, or if it's supposed to be in some sort of shape and it broke when it came through the mail. I'm not gonna open it because I don't want to get the powder everywhere, but it says over here that it is Undead Truth of Us bubble bath, and it's just inspired by the book The Undead Truth, which I've never heard of either, nor have I read it before. So then the next item I see here is this. It is a sugar scrub soap. It's supposed to smell like jasmine, black currant, as well as deep woods. The inside looks like this. Smells pretty good. And it's supposed to be Harrow Lake Sugar Scrub Soap. It is a collectible. It's the second in the series of different scrubs that will feature. That's really cool. I don't think I've gotten the first one yet, but I always like a good scrub. All right, then the final item is the book itself, and that is Speak No Evil by Leanna Gardner. This is a Bram Stoker Awards nominee. I have no idea what this book is about, but look at the edges. It is stunning. In the inside, it looks like this. It looks like this. It's like all the exclusivity decked out. What's really interesting about Unplugged Book Box, I feel like they always have books that I've never heard of before, and I'm pretty sure they're all by like indie publishers, because this book is published by Vesuvian Books, which I've never heard of, so definitely an indie publisher. It says the daughter of Appalachian snake handlers becomes a ward of the state after her eerie gift causes a tragedy that leaves her orphaned. What if every time you told the truth, evil followed? That is really fucking interesting. I'm super intrigued by this book, so I'm very curious to see how this book goes, and that's probably why it's called Speak No Evil, because, you know, her gift is based on the truth. So anyways, I think my favorite item all of this is probably going to be this one, because this smells amazing and I love candles, so I'm very biased for this one. And then after that, I don't know, I feel like I like the scrub, but I also like the usefulness of this bowl. But that's it in terms of the unboxing portion. Hopefully I finish the rest of the books really soon, and then I can finish up this readathon. So I've been listening to Sometimes I Lie for the past like 2.5 hours on the audio. It is not my thing. I'm going to DNF it because I just can't get into it. I feel like the premise sounded really promising, but for some reason it's just not attention grabbing, and I'm just not absorbed with the story, and I just cannot fathom another like what 7 hours of this. So I am just going to DNF it right here and then and pick up something else. But because of my guild tier or whatever, my DNFs do count. So basically my quest, I've done all my quests now. The only thing I have left to read is Iron Raven, which I probably will tackle this weekend at my friend's place. Or wait, no, I think we're doing it at my place. So hopefully by then, like, I will be able to get all the books done, and then I'm good to go with this readathon. But I don't know, I'm just a little sad that I didn't really like this book, because I remember when I bought this book a couple years ago, I really wanted to enjoy it. I've heard really good things about it, and now I'm listening on audio and I'm just like, this is not it for me. And usually thrillers are great for me on audio, like thrillers, romances, perfect for me for audio, and I can't get to this one, so it is what it is. Hey guys, so just here to do the outro and just finish up the vlog right now. It is now May 2nd, so it's actually been a couple days since the end of this readathon, but I haven't had a chance to really update you guys. I also was at my boyfriend's place for the past couple days, so that's partially why. But I did not manage to finish reading The Iron Raven. I'm still reading it actually. I'm on page 236. I got about like halfway through prior to the month end, but that was kind of it. I just didn't have a lot of time to read over this weekend. I was going to do a readathon with my friend, but that didn't happen due to like other circumstances. So let's just do a quick recap on the books I did read and what I read for each like prompt. So my original profession or career is to be a beastmaster, and I had to read a book that was for flowers on the cover for elemental studies, and I read Dragon's Promise, which I really enjoyed, 4.5 stars. Then I had to do animal studies, and that was to flip a coin for the prompt, and I had to do a nonfiction. So I ended up picking I'm Glad My Mom Died, which I give 4 stars. I actually really enjoyed it as a nonfiction. I didn't really expect to enjoy as much as I did. My next course was alchemy, which was to read a book with metal in the name. That one I chose Iron Raven, which like I said already, I did not manage to finish, so it is what it is. My next course after that was restoration, and that was to just close my eyes, shuffle, and point. So I decided to go with Everyone in My Family Killed Someone. That's a book I DNF'd, which still counts thanks to my guild, you know, level. I also have to go back into it at some point and see what my, you know, tier is now, because I'm pretty sure I'm on the next tier, if not higher than that. I just remember my first tier was like every DNF counts, and that's all I remember. So I DNF'd that book, unfortunately, just was not the greatest. Then my next course was lore, which is to read a book with a map. For this one I read Caraval, which I really enjoyed, 4 stars. And then for the quest, which I also took part in, so my first prompt here was to read a book with night on cover or read at night. So for that one I chose The Night Olivia Fell, which I remember I enjoyed. I probably gave that book like 2 or 3 stars. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad either. Then my next prompt was to read Majority with the Alchemy Ambience Room, which I read for Fairy Tale Volume 11. Amazing read, 5 stars for sure. My next prompt after that was to read a book from my lowest shelf, which I picked up Babysitter's Coven. This book I gave 3 stars. It was just an okay read. I didn't think there's anything special about it. Then my next prompt after that was to read a book nearest my light fixture. So I chose a lamp in my room, and I went with Keep My Heart in San Francisco, which I actually really enjoyed. It's really cute. I gave that book like 3.5 stars. Very adorable book. My next prompt after that was to read my most recently acquired book, which is one I tried to pick up audiobook, and that was Sometimes I Lie. That book I ended up DNFing, but because of my guild, I am able to still count that. I just didn't really care for it. It sounded really freaking promising, but that was not the case. My next prompt after that was to read a contemporary book, which I went and picked up When You Wish Upon a Lantern, which I actually really enjoyed. It's really cute. I gave it like 3.5 stars. It wasn't amazing. It was cute, but that was kind of it. And then my last and final prompt was to read the oldest book on my TBR, which I decided to pick up Legendary by Stephanie Garber. This book was on there. Not my oldest book per se, but like it was definitely one of my oldest books for sure. I just wanted to incorporate the Kagawa series in here because I really enjoyed the series, like that first book overall. So that is it in terms of all the books I read for this magical readathon, which meant I read a total of 11 books. Well, minus 2 because of the DNF, so total of 9 books, and I'm halfway with my Iron Raven, which I will probably finish in the next couple days, hopefully today, but probably not. But that's it in terms of my experience this time with the magical readathon. Let me know down below, how did you guys do for the magical readathon? Did you guys do a good job? Did you guys kind of do like me and kind of like iffy a little bit here and there? I definitely feel like I did better last time, but it is what it is. But as always, if you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up. It would just help my channel, and if you can see more content of me, please don't hesitate to subscribe down below, as well as hit the notification bell. And as always, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.